Gradient Introduction. So far, we've discussed how to draw an object and modify it, right? Now from here, we're going to discuss on how to fill our object with a single and gradient colors. Let's start off with a gradient introduction. A gradient is a multicolor fill in which one color blends and changes to another color. Using gradient is a good way to create a smooth color gradation across one or more objects. In Flash, we can either use one of the default gradients or we can create our own gradients and add to Swatches panel. In general, we can use gradients to produce a wide range of effects, which result in the innovation of objects. In Flash, we have two types of gradients, and they are linear and radial gradients. In linear gradient, the colors move from left to right or from top to bottom. Radial gradient colors run in the form of a circle, like from the center to the edge. We can pick gradient from Fill Color, Color Panel, or from Swatches. Linear and radial gradients are available in the Color Panel. Now, as we told you before, we can create a gradient using the Color Panel, and we can save the gradients in the Swatches panel. Therefore, we've just learned about the gradients and their types. Gradient Transform Tool. In the previous session, we discussed the introduction of Gradient Transform Tool. Now here, we're going to discuss how to create and edit it. So on with it, shall we? We can find Gradient Transform Tool in the toolbox, which is located under Free Transform Tool. Its keyboard shortcut, the letter F. We start this tool with an example. Before selecting the tool, go to Window and select Color Panel, and drag our panel and place it here. Choose Type as Linear. If we wish to change the gradient colors, we can use these options. Next, draw one rectangle on the stage. Select Gradient Transform Tool and click on the object. We can view the bounding box with editing handles. Now let's see the use of each handle, shall we? This is the center point. Place the cursor on the center point, and it is changed as a four-headed arrow. We can click and move our bounding box wherever we wish. Now, if we want to increase or decrease the width of the gradient, just click this arrow pointer and drag. Wow, we see it's changing. We can also rotate our gradient using the Rotate handler. Now, just rotate. Nice, the gradient gets rotated. Open Swatches panel from Window menu as we did for Color Panel. In Color Panel, use Gradient Map and use the slider to do some changes such as this. Next, move the mouse pointer near the inverted triangle and click. We have some options. Select Add Swatch option. Go to Swatches panel and note the newly created gradient has been added. Similarly, we can add many gradients. Fine, so far we saw the linear gradient. Now next we're going to move on to radial gradient. Select radial as type from the Color panel. Now, the fill of our gradient is changed as circle, and we got a bounding circle with editing handles, which is most similar to linear, only difference is that we have an inverted triangle in the center. Now just move this triangle, and see as we move the triangle, our center color will move. We can fill images using the Bitmap option in the Color panel. Select Bitmap Type in Color panel. Now open up a dialog box, and we can choose any image from this dialog box, and then click OK. Now see it appears in the Color panel. Next, draw one shape, and as we draw our shape, it will be filled with the image, or pick the image and draw, and it will fill. Now press F and click on the shape. We'll get a bounding box which is similar to the linear gradient, where we can rotate, increase, or decrease our bitmap image. Only difference is a skew box. We can move our skew, and it will skew the image such as this. The Gradient Transform tool does not possess any special properties, and they are very similar to the Free Transform tool.